When people say Gerald McClellan wasted his career, they couldn't be more wrong. The truth is, McClellan didn't destroy anything. Instead, one of boxing's most devastating knockout artists had his brilliant career ripped away in 10 brutal rounds on a February night in London that changed everything forever. Picture this scene from February 25th, 1995. The London arena is electric with 12,500 fans roaring in anticipation. In one corner stands Nigel, the Dark Destroyer, Ben, the beloved British warrior. In the other corner is Gerald, the G-Man McClellan, the American assassin who spoke of violence with chilling reverence. McClellan was the heavy favorite at 1-3 odds. Everyone expected another swift and violent conclusion from the man who got a greater buzz from knockouts than anything else in life. But by the end of that night, the fearsome puncher would collapse in his corner, telling his trainer he felt water running inside his head. He would emerge from an 11-day coma blind, 80% deaf, and unable to walk unaided. His brain was irreparably damaged. The knockout machine had been silenced forever. Yet before that shadow fell, there was the blinding light of his power. McClellan was born in Freeport, Illinois, and forged in the Spartan crucible of the boxing gym. His talent was prodigious and apparent from early on. As an amateur, he compiled an impressive record of 50 wins against just 8 losses. He was a decorated competitor, winning the U.S. National Championships at 156 pounds in 1987. His most telling amateur victory came at the 1988 National Golden Gloves Tournament. In the semifinals, he faced a supremely gifted young fighter from Pensacola, Florida, named Roy Jones Jr. McClellan won by a 3-2 split decision over a man who would become arguably the most talented boxer of his generation. This victory cemented McClellan's status as a blue-chip prospect. When he turned professional in August 1988, he carried sky-high expectations of a future champion. To define McClellan's professional career with a single word, it would be power. He wasn't merely a hard puncher, he was a finisher of terrifying efficiency. His fights were often brutally short affairs, exercises in explosive violence that left opponents crumpled on the canvas before they had a chance to implement a game plan. His final record of 31 wins and 3 losses is impressive on its own, but the internal statistics are what truly set him apart. Of his 31 victories, 29 came by way of knockout, a staggering 93.5% knockout ratio. Even more astonishing was the speed with which he dispatched his opposition. The numbers are genuinely mind-boggling. 20 of his knockouts, nearly 2/3 of his entire win total, came in the first round. A full 28 of his 29 knockouts occurred within the first 3 rounds. If you appreciate stories about boxing's most legendary figures and devastating power punchers like McClellan, make sure you're subscribed to the channel because we have plenty more incredible boxing stories coming your way. He was a human wrecking ball, built for short-duration warfare that left little room for nuance or doubt. Before his final, fateful bout, he had amassed only 84 professional rounds across 34 fights, an average of less than 2.5 rounds per fight. His ascent through the middleweight ranks was swift and violent. On November 20th, 1991, at the Royal Albert Hall in London, McClellan faced the formidable John "the Beast" Mugabe for the vacant WBO middleweight title. Mugabe was a renowned power puncher in his own right, but McClellan overwhelmed him, scoring a TKO victory at 2 minutes and 51 seconds of the very first round. His crowning achievement came on May 8, 1993 in Las Vegas. He challenged the equally feared Julian "the Hawk" Jackson for the prestigious WBC middleweight title. The matchup was a boxing purist's dream of pure power. The two men entered the ring with a combined 68 knockouts and 73 victories. After a few tense rounds, McClellan unleashed a brutal assault in the 5th, knocking Jackson out to claim his second world title. McClellan's 3 defenses of his WBC title were a testament to his devastating power. He stopped Jay Bell, Gilbert Baptist, and in a highly anticipated rematch, Julian Jackson again. All 3 defenses ended in the first round. The rematch with Jackson on May 7, 1994, lasted a mere 1 minute and 23 seconds, cementing his reputation as the most dangerous puncher in the sport. This period of dominance created an aura of invincibility. Yet within this very strength lay a hidden, catastrophic weakness. His unparalleled ability to end fights early meant he never had to navigate the deep waters of a grueling 12-round championship war. He never had to pace himself, conserve energy, or adjust his strategy in the face of sustained resistance. His career path inadvertently engineered his greatest vulnerability. By consistently blowing opponents away in the opening rounds, he never developed the stamina or experience required for a long-distance battle of attrition. Before facing Nigel Benn, he had never fought a single second past the 8th round. This experiential deficit would prove fatal when he finally met a man whose will to survive was as strong as his own will to destroy. The bout billed as Sudden Impact was more than a title fight. It was a collision of styles and narratives. McClellan arrived in London as the heavy betting favorite. The expectation, shared by bookmakers and McClellan himself, was for a swift and violent conclusion. The atmosphere inside the London arena was electric, with millions more watching the live broadcast. The fight exploded from the opening bell. Within a mere 35 seconds, a furious assault from McClellan sent Ben tumbling through the ropes and onto the apron. It was the exact start everyone had predicted. But Ben, showing extraordinary fortitude, scrambled back into the ring before the 20-second count expired. In that moment, McClellan's primary weapon, the early, overwhelming knockout blow, had failed to secure victory. The fight would now enter uncharted territory. Almost immediately, signs of trouble emerged for McClellan. As early as the second round, he was visibly struggling to breathe properly. Throughout the early and middle rounds, his mouthpiece was often loose, and he was seen rubbing the back of his head after exchanges, subtle but ominous indicators of distress. McClellan rallied in the eighth round, dropping Ben for a second time with a powerful right hand, seemingly on the verge of finishing the fight. But in the ninth, the fight took its most pivotal and damaging turn. A fatigued Ben lunged forward, missing wildly with a punch, and his forehead smashed into McClellan's right cheekbone. Doctors and McClellan's family believed this accidental headbutt was the catalyst that created or severely exacerbated the blood clot forming in his brain. The effect was immediate and visible. McClellan began blinking his eyes repeatedly and rubbing the side of his head, clear and alarming signs of a significant neurological event. Entering the 10th round, McClellan was in the deepest water of his professional life. He was visibly compromised, his movements less certain. Midway through the round, a right hand from Ben sent him down to one knee. He rose at 7, but the knockdown was so unusual that Showtime commentator Ferdy Pacheco called it the strangest knockdown he'd ever seen. Just seconds later, another right from Ben connected, and McClellan knelt again. This time, he simply watched the referee count him out. The fight was over at 1 minute and 46 seconds of the 10th round. In a moment of tragic misjudgment, Pacheco accused McClellan of quitting on the live broadcast. The truth was far more horrific. McClellan's surrender wasn't a failure of will, but a catastrophic failure of his body. The official scorecards at the time of the stoppage reveal the depth of the tragedy. He was winning the fight that was simultaneously killing him. 2 judges had McClellan ahead, with the third scoring it even. After the final count, McClellan stood and walked back to his corner, where he told trainer Stan Johnson that he felt water running inside his head and collapsed onto his back. The scene immediately shifted from a post-fight celebration to a frantic medical emergency. McClellan was rushed to the nearby Royal London Hospital. His condition deteriorated rapidly, and he was taken into emergency surgery. For 3.5 hours, neurosurgeon Dr. John Sutcliffe worked to remove a massive blood clot from the surface of his brain. Following the life-saving operation, McClellan was placed in a medically induced coma for 11 days. The man who eventually returned home to Freeport, Illinois, was a mere shadow of the formidable champion he had once been. The injuries had left him with profound and permanent disabilities. McClellan is completely blind. The tragic irony is that his eyes are physically healthy. The damage was to his brain, where cells that process visual information are dead. He is approximately 80% deaf and struggles with verbal comprehension, constantly asking people to repeat themselves. The powerful legs that once provided the foundation for his thunderous punches are now withered. He is unable to walk without assistance and is largely confined to a wheelchair. His brain is hopelessly broken. He is stuck in the past, largely unable to form new memories. He still believes he is 27, the age he was when he fought Ben, and is often confused as to why he is not training for another fight. He remembers that he was a champion, a fact he holds on to with pride, but mercifully, he has no memory of the Ben fight itself. McClellan's existence is now one of total dependency, managed with tireless devotion by his sister Lisa. His daily routine is a meticulously structured regimen designed to provide comfort and care. The ongoing cost of his round-the-clock care is estimated to be between $70,000 and $90,000 per year. Today, McClellan is entirely dependent on the charity of others through the Gerald McClellan Trust and a GoFundMe campaign. The story of Gerald McClellan stands as one of boxing's greatest tragedies. His case led directly to improved ringside medical protocols that have helped protect future fighters. He should be remembered not for the darkness that followed, but for the brilliant, violent light of his career as one of the most powerful punchers to ever step into a ring. Gerald McClellan's story is a powerful reminder of the human cost of boxing and the unrepayable debt the sport owes to warriors like him. What are your memories of the G-Man's devastating power? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into boxing's most compelling stories.